All right, everybody, another unedited video. If you didn't see my last one that I put out on Wednesday, I will have it at the end of this video where you can watch it. As always, I'm going to say that I select backwards on these pallets so you can see me build more, because if I were to build the front pallet up like I usually stack, I will block the camera very quickly. So there's a few edits on this video. Just a lot of dead time of me selecting on the front pallet and you can't see it. So I just, deleted a couple sections out. And I do show you finished product at the end. And as always, I cannot film the entire order because it just does not work out well with my camera. But with that being said, you getting to see me do the same thing over and over again with the base, which I feel is the most important part of the pallet. I have put these cans orders out before, but I want you to see, if you watch my previous ones, that I do the same thing every time. All right, I forget the block. I goofed on my last one. They're either a 17 or a 16 block, these cans. I don't think I follow the block that comes on the pallet with these. I told you I am a huge advocate of not hanging cases over the side of the pallet at all. I do not like hanging cases over the side of the pallet. It never ends in a good result. It always, especially at your base, especially at your base. So let's go. I go 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think I do a 16 block, and I think they come as a 17 block. I'm not 100% sure on that. I will count the next time I go to work. But yeah, I 16 block these because I don't like hanging over the side of the pallet. But you can see I'm starting like I always start. Picture this as the front of my pallet, and I start stacking back. Now I got 2 rows going here because I had a couple cans that were actually bundled together as too high. So I'm just trying to get a solid base going here. And as you can see, guys, I'm not messing around with this. I know exactly where I want to put my cases at. A couple of them you see I tossed down. It's because I'm actually walking further to my back pallet, I believe. That's why I also like selecting on my front pallet. But right there, I move it. I correct it. You'll see me do that time to time. I'll just toss a case down because I know that it takes a second for me to put it in the spot that I wanted to, where it takes 5 seconds to walk around the pallet to actually place it. So I do that quite often. Now see right there, I separated that a little bit because I know I'm getting to, it's how I select. I know that I have to separate some of those cases over there to make sure they're evenly gapped. I don't like big gaps on my pallet. All right, so I'm moving on to the second aisle. This was a pretty decent sized order. That's the reason that I cannot show all of it, because the camera gets blocked. But I try to show as much as possible for you guys to see me build these bases and build it the same way every time. But progression, guys, it's a matter of just throwing the case and keep moving, throwing the case and keep moving. You do not want to get hung up on cases too long. And I think that is one of the biggest problems. I see people struggle with what I'm doing right here. All right, I put on here no one in the aisle. That's the time to move faster. When nobody is in front of you, that is the time to pick up the pace and start moving. Let your jack coast a little bit more, not crazy like, a full bay, but just coasting like you see my jack coasting here. It's coasting maybe what, like 4 to 6 feet. That's all you want to do. So right here, I'm trying to complete this second layer, getting up to the second layer here. All right, so right here, I'm getting into these cans. Actually, that's a different one than I thought it was. But I do come up on these cans. I'm going to talk about that block again. So you're going to see me move a case here. I'll wait for it to happen. I remember doing it. Let's just wait for it to happen before I say what I want to say. All right, so right here, I take that case and I put it down. I realize I know what cases are coming up in my order. There is nothing good that's going to come out of that corner being low like that. I don't have any skinny cases that are going to fit there. I was contemplating on getting 2 more of those cans to form that corner, and I did not get 2 more of them. So I'd rather have a nice flat corner so I could stack on. People would leave that can up and leave that small corner when you do not have small cases coming. There you go. I got one of these cans and I spaced out that gap in the middle. Now the case I just put down, they come in a 10 block. I do not like 10 block in these. Over to the left of the screen here, that is a 10 block. They hang off the pallet. I do not like hanging them off the pallet. Now let's move to the right side of the screen. I 8 block these. That's how I stack them. I 8 block them. So whenever we talk about the block, now since I say I 8 block these, even if I had 3 of these, I would stack them 3 across like you're seeing right there, okay? I stack them 3 across. I will not put 2 and then 1 facing in because it hangs off the pallet. I told you that there are certain blocks that I do not like because they hang off. Juices up above, Perishable do that. I do not, I think they come in a 16 block. I 15 block them. I just don't believe in it. If the case is hanging off the pallet, then it doesn't need to be blocked like that, in my opinion. We need to keep these cases nice and square, or the pallet rather, nice and square. So you can see right here, I got, you know, a nice level base. I'm 3 layers up. I got a really nice level base, so I'm starting on my next layer. And you always see me do the same thing like I said on Wednesday. I point cases in, and I have my smaller cases in the cross and T. That's why I brought that up. I never even really thought of the cross and T until I started doing this YouTube channel. But that's how I do it. It's just an easier way for me to explain it to people. I put the smaller cases, and they're running along the cross and the T. They're not like going the width of the pallet. They're going the length of the pallet. I do not like turning cases, big cases especially, the width inside the middle of the pallet because it gives you small corners and small outside. You want strong corners and a weak inside. But unfortunately for this order here, and there's people in the warehouse, it's just I am very lucky to be one of the few people over on this side of the warehouse. Usually these aisles are congested. Honestly, I don't think they kept a lot of overtime this day. Maybe that's why there's not a lot of people out there. But there are a lot of people in the warehouse, just not in my section. That's why I say move faster. You know, when you have nobody in your house, that's the time that you just want to keep moving. Now, see, guys, right there. Well, I grabbed the wrong case. Yeah, that's why we got check digits. Yeah, you saw me in my last video. I was selecting wrong cases too. I correct it, you know. Just go back and correct it. So right there, what am I doing here? Okay, so I initially put that up because it's a long, skinny case. I put it up on the top part there because I didn't know what to do with it. But then I guess I just didn't realize it told me to take 2. So anytime I have 2 of something, I like to keep them together. And I do move cases around. I want my higher outside. So I noticed that the case that I just placed and moved was lower. So I moved the lower case back and I put the higher case up front. Believe it or not, it plays a big part keeping the outside perimeter cases higher. That way you can tie in easier. You do not want cases leaning out. You want cases leaning in. Now that case I just threw down, I don't know where I want to put it. I'm not going to sit there and try to force it somewhere. I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, what can I do with this case? No, I'm just going to drop the stupid case and I'm going to keep moving. You do not want to sit there and stare at cases too long. You just want to keep moving. Progression, progression, progression. Now I put that there and it was a little higher. I didn't like it, so I'm going to move it up a layer. I immediately go to my next layer. If I know I have more cans and more stuff coming up that is probably going to match that corner piece that I put those pickles next to and it didn't work out. So there's no reason to keep that case there. Just throw it up a layer. When I don't have a case that works, I throw it up to the next layer. But look how everything is pointing together. Same cases together. Just like I said earlier, keep like cases together. Now, when I say like cases, it could be the same case, or it could be two cases that are very close to being equal together. Just put the higher one on the outside and the lower one on the inside. This is why I think this is important, because you just see that I'm just moving through here. I'm establishing my base. And then after you get that base going and you start getting the different cases, everything starts pointing towards the middle. Like, you do see me move cases around, and that's okay. I do it fluently. You know, I'm not sitting there messing around because I got these cases here coming. I don't like these tees. I like to try to snug them up against something. So I just don't like throwing the tees anywhere. Here, I move my camera up so you guys could see me stack more. Trying to figure out ways to do this. I told you I'd take my speaker to the top of the rear of the jack, and then I clip my phone on it. So it might be a little bit more shaky whenever I'm driving, but we're going to be able to watch a lot more of me selecting because of that. All right, right there. Once again, guys, it doesn't, I don't know where I want that case. Is it going to stay there? Probably not. Just put the stupid case down and keep moving. I keep saying stupid case because I just see people just dwell too long on it. And I want people, especially people that work in my warehouse, if they're watching me, watch these videos, I just want to say stupid case, because it's that one case could cost you 15, 20 seconds. And you do not want that. You just want to put the case down and place it at a later time. Now right here, I built a lot of my front pallet up. I'm actually going to, I think I take my camera off to show you. I can't remember, but I skipped, yeah, I do right here, okay. I'm just showing you my front pallet that I'm getting going. You know, once again, nice solid base. I'm working on my second base. So, and that's the other thing I said is, now, know your product that's coming up in the warehouse. So why would I stack all these tees and all these heavy cases on top of those cans that are on the back pallet? Use them as a second base. You got to know your product. You got to know what's coming up. Establish that first base and then start establishing a second base whenever you get to the product that you know is good for a second base. And that's what I do. So right here we got, you know, like I said, this is like a 280 some case order, and I got 2 strong bases going for me right here. All right, so right there, 2 cases, 2 like cases. Now I did not face them towards the middle that I usually like doing. And that is because of the way those cases are, the tees are. I wanted to run them the same way that the tees were being ran, because those tees are weird. They got like a higher middle, a lower, it's goofy. But that's why I did it. Just more sturdy on top of the tee boxes. Otherwise, I probably would have ran them towards the middle. Couple Gatorades. I actually think I'm almost done here. Like I said, I don't go too much further with this. I don't think so anyhow. Let me check. Nope, that's it. All right, guys. So, like I said, I cannot film too much on here. I was getting into all Gatorades, and I did not want to put the Gatorades on my back pallet. I wanted to keep them on the front pallet with all my other Gatorades because I know what's coming up further in the warehouse, and I want to save my back pallet for that. So that's why I just stopped, because I'm going to end up building up my front pallet. Remember, I got to make my times while I'm doing this too. So I can't take the time to switch the pallets around and start building them. I wish I could do all that. Maybe if I get up more time, I could possibly do that and film a little longer. But with that being said, I'm going to show you some end product. All right, guys. So this is the just the front view of my front pallet. This was what I was throwing down here whenever I skipped a lot of it. I had 5 of these Deer Parks. add some syrups and stuff to that nature, the Clamato juice or whatever, some water, some Arizona teas. And as you can see, once I establish that base up to those Arizona teas, it's basically column stacked after that. I mean, we basically have columns. I got small cases in the middle, bigger cases on the outside. That's how I stack. The only time I put smaller cases on the outside is if I have a lot to form a corner. So if I have, I don't know, 4 of one case that's smaller, and I could put them on that corner and form a corner out of it, I will. But other than that, I am saving the big cases for the corners and small cases for the middle. Here is the back of, or no, I'm sorry, this is the front of my back pallet, which the cans, where I started out with the cans, and then I got sauces and stuff. So once again, I established a base. It's a little lower of a base than the other pallet. But then from there, it's basically column stack. And if I can get level, which I did where the Capri Suns are at, I tie in. All right, that's what I say. Establish that base. So someone said on one of my videos about being picture perfect, you care, and we chatted back and forth. I like when people say this because it's a good point. Like, okay, so whenever I'm teaching on this channel, yeah, I like building perfect pallets. It's just the way I am. I've been there 24 years. I've been doing this for a while, so I'm not, and you can also remember, I am not selecting cases for 8 hours a day. So I'm glad he brought this up. So he said that, you know, in the video that I said, you know, things like to be picture perfect. You like to build your pallets perfect, where other people just want to build so they can get that incentive money and get incentive pay and start and make money. You want to get in, you want to make as much money as possible. I totally get it. So with that being said, my bases that I'm showing you on this video, that is what you need to do. So even if you're building, if you want to throw fast and you want to make incentive pay, build these bases as solid as you could possibly get them to where I have them. I got one about thigh high and I got one about waist high or even stomach high. And then once you build those solid bases, you're gone. All right. I told you from here on up, when you have a solid base, it's less thinking, less time. So you could still really kick out these orders really well. You don't have to build them perfectly square like I do. It's just what I do. It's just how I build them. So definitely, I'm glad he brought that up. Once again, I got a little bit of wrap going around there. You know, maybe it was getting a little unstable. That's another thing. Remember what I said in the last video? Wrap quickly. Wrap them out around the middle of your layer or middle of your pallet. If your pallet's this high, you know, 3 foot high, you're wrapping 1.5 foot high. If your pallet's 6 foot high, you're wrapping 3 foot high. One time around to keep that pallet together. You do not have to spend all this time wrapping the pallet unless you do not have wrap machines. If you do not have wrap machines, then wrap your pallet and be done with it. So whenever you finish, you could just wrap the top of it. You do not want to waste time wrapping, especially when you have wrap machines. But here's the back of my pallet, establish the base, and then pretty much everything gets column stacked on top of that. So that's it. I got more of these coming. I'm staying overtime. I'm trying to catch up with some vacation money that we spent. So I'm going to be staying overtime. I got a lot more of these videos coming. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.